There are so many E-mount lenses out there. Some of them are really expensive and not everybody can afford them. But what about those cheaper alternatives, those budget options? Well, let's talk about one of them, and that is the YONGNUO 50mm f1.8. And I've tested this out in a variety of things. I'm going to divide this video in several sections, and the first section will be all about the build quality. Coming in at around 350 euros here in Europe, this lens feels really heavy and very strong and solid at the same time. It is made from metal mostly, and some parts also made from plastic. It weighs in at around 395 grams, and because of the material it actually feels really solid as well. It has a rubber gasket to protect the lens, 2 customizable buttons and a manual autofocus switch. Also, it even has a USB port to update the firmware. The focus ring is actually quite loose, quite loosey-goosey. You don't have a real connection with it, so it is electronic. At the front we have a 58mm filter thread and 9 aperture blades. The autofocus motor is the so-called DSM stepping motor, which actually makes minimal noises. And overall, the build quality is pretty good considering the affordable price. Now let's talk about more interesting stuff, and that is the image quality. And as you see here, the photos are looking really good, and I was quite impressed as I did not expect too much out of this lens. At f1.8 it is actually quite decent and not so clinical, if that makes any sense. Because this lens is not the sharpest lens in the world, it actually stands out by having a more organic feel to the images. One step down to f5.6, the image becomes really clinical and sharp, as we all know from modern lenses. And overall, the images are looking pretty sweet in a variety of different subjects and environments. Low light images are captured above its price class and it looks very solid. At f1.8 we do see some purple fringing, so for landscapes I strongly suggest to step down the aperture to minimize any color fringing. For video we can conclude the same thing. Very organic images that make any sense, by the way. For me personally, I like this type of feeling that you can get from your images, but also for video. In general, I was really pleased with the image quality coming out of this lens, but if you're looking for the sharpest lens in the world, then this is definitely not it for you. But if you are a little bit like me, you want to have a more organic feel to your images, then this might be worth considering. But what about the autofocus performance? Usually with cheap or more affordable lenses, this is where the difference comes in price and why this is a budget lens. And unfortunately, also for the YONGNUO lens, we will see some autofocus lagging, or autofocus performance not as good as the more premium price class lenses. And as you see here in video mode, the lens is a bit on the slower end. Also, the focus breathing is really present, but once it captured the face, then it locks on it, which is pretty good, but still you can definitely see some focus breathing still. However, for photos, I was really surprised and very pleased by the autofocus performance, because here we'll see that the autofocus will just track the face really fast, and also it captures the face really nicely as well. So I don't have a real issue for photography with the photo autofocus. So to recap in one sentence, it is great for photo, but not so great for video in terms of autofocus performance. Alright, so the conclusion, the YONGNUO 50mm f1.8. What do I think about it? I do think that this comes in recommended if you're looking for a affordable lens that has good autofocus in photo mode. And if you're a photographer, of course, and you want to have a affordable lens with good organic image quality, and if you're looking for a nice build quality in this lens. But be aware, this lens is a little bit on the heavier side. The image quality is not the sharpest in the world. At f1.8 we also see some color fringing, and then autofocus performance for photo is good, but for video is not that great. If you're looking for a more smaller lens, but also similar price, maybe a little bit higher in the price range, you might want to consider a more compact, lighter weight lens from Samyang or Rokinon 45mm f1.8, which is much smaller, has a little bit better autofocus performance for both photo and video, by the way, but image quality is also a little bit like a tad, just slightly better than this one. Right, I think that's all for this video. If you got any questions, let me know in the comment section down below. As always, stay safe, stay healthy. Subscribe to the channel if not already. Like the video, and I'll be seeing you in the next one. Good luck.